The jungle breathed. It was full of life, bright and wild. Sunlight peeked through the thick leaves, making spots of light on the forest floor. Bright green vines, as thick as a man's body, twisted around old trees. Strange bird songs filled the damp air, like whistles and chirps. Every shadow, every moving leaf was full of life. This was nature's grand church, beautiful and dangerous all at once. Sergeant John Riley pushed through the thick plants, sweat dripping from his forehead. The jungle was a living, breathing entity, its dense foliage closing in on him from all sides. Every step he took was a battle against the vines and roots that seemed to conspire to trip him up. The air was thick with humidity, making it hard to breathe, and the constant buzz of insects was a relentless reminder of the life teeming around him. His job: find a lost group of scientists. They had ventured into this unforgiving terrain to study its unique ecosystem, but had gone silent days ago. The mission was critical. Their research held the key to understanding the delicate balance of this environment. Riley knew the stakes were high and failure was not an option. He studied the map, trying to make sense of the labyrinthine paths that crisscrossed the jungle. Their last message was a tiny blip on his gadget. It was a distress signal, a faint cry for help that had led him deep into this green maze. The signal was weak, barely enough to guide him, but it was all he had. He checked the device constantly, hoping for a stronger signal, a clearer direction, but the jungle seemed to swallow the signals just as it swallowed everything else. Days and nights had become all mixed up, and the jungle's heavy heat never went away. The sun was a relentless force, beating down on him during the day while the nights offered little respite. The oppressive heat clung to him, making every movement a struggle. He had lost track of time, the days blending into nights, each one as grueling as the last. The jungle was a timeless place, indifferent to his presence. He held his gun tightly, a familiar weight in his hand. It was his constant companion, a source of comfort in this alien world. The rifle was more than a weapon. It was a symbol of his training, his discipline, and his resolve. He had faced many challenges in his career, but this mission was different. The jungle was an enemy he couldn't see, couldn't predict. It was a test of his endurance, his will to survive. The quiet, broken only by the crunching leaves under his boots, was scary. The silence was oppressive, a stark contrast to the constant noise of civilization. Every sound was amplified, every rustle of leaves a potential threat. He was hyper-aware of his surroundings, his senses on high alert. The jungle was alive, and he was an intruder. The isolation was profound, a reminder of his solitude in this vast green expanse. He was alone, like a lone wolf in a sea of green. The jungle was a vast, uncharted territory, and he was just a small, insignificant figure within it. But he was determined, driven by a sense of duty, and a desire to bring the scientists back safely. The mission was his lifeline, a purpose that kept him moving forward. In the heart of the jungle, amidst the solitude and the silence, Sergeant John Riley pressed on, a solitary figure on a quest for survival and rescue. Something moved quickly. Riley's heart pounded in his chest as he strained to see through the dense foliage. The jungle was alive with sounds, but this was different. It was a deliberate movement, not the random rustling of the wind or the scurrying of small animals. He had been on edge for days, ever since his unit had been ambushed. Now, alone and separated from his team, every sound seemed amplified, every shadow a potential threat. Riley froze, his hand going straight for his gun. His training kicked in, and he crouched low, trying to make himself as small a target as possible. His eyes darted around, searching for the source of the movement. The jungle was thick and visibility was poor. He could feel the sweat trickling down his back, the tension in his muscles as he prepared for whatever might come next. Two figures came out of the plants, and they looked like nothing he'd ever seen. They moved with an eerie grace, their forms almost blending into the greenery around them. Riley's mind raced as he tried to process what he was seeing. Were they human? Some kind of new enemy? Or something else entirely? He had heard stories of strange creatures in the jungle, but he had always dismissed them as myths. Tall and graceful, their skin glowed with a strange light. It was as if they were illuminated from within, casting a soft ethereal glow that made them stand out starkly against the dark foliage. Riley had never seen anything like it. The light seemed to pulse gently in time with their movements, giving them an almost otherworldly appearance. He felt a strange mix of fear and awe as he watched them. Their eyes, big and almond-shaped, were so deep they gave him chills. It was as if they could see right through him, into his very soul. The eyes were a deep, shimmering black, reflecting the light in a way that made them seem almost alive. Riley felt a shiver run down his spine as he met their gaze. There was something ancient and wise in those eyes, something that made him feel small and insignificant. They moved smoothly and easily, their long, thin fingers gently pushing the leaves aside. It was clear that they were at home in the jungle, moving with a confidence and ease that Riley envied. He watched as they navigated the dense foliage with a grace that seemed almost supernatural. Their movements were fluid and precise, each step taken with purpose and intent. Riley couldn't help but be mesmerized by their elegance. He lowered his gun, his mind trying to understand what he was seeing. The fear that had gripped him moments before was slowly being replaced by curiosity. Who were these beings? What were they doing here, and why did he feel an inexplicable connection to them? Riley took a deep breath, trying to calm his racing thoughts. He knew that this encounter was unlike anything he had ever experienced, and he had a feeling that it was just the beginning of something much larger. They talked with gestures and feelings, not words. The alien women, Lyra and Ilara, spoke in musical voices. He didn't understand their words, but he understood what they wanted. They were looking for something powerful, something hidden deep in the jungle. Riley, not scared anymore but feeling a bit of respect, agreed to help. They wanted the same thing, their futures now linked together. They went deeper into the green maze. The beautiful jungle had hidden dangers. Wild animals hid in the shadows, their eyes shining with hunger. Poisonous bugs flew around, their bites very dangerous. Riley, with his sharp senses from years of fighting, taught Lyra and Ilara how to stay alive. They learned to move quietly, to see the small signs of danger. They started to trust each other, their friendship growing stronger in the face of danger. Days turned into weeks, and the jungle held them tightly. Then one night, with the moon shining, they found it, a clearing glowing with a magical light. In the middle, under the roots of a huge tree, was the thing they were looking for, a ball of pure energy, pulsing with light. It hummed with an ancient power, pulling them closer, calling them forward. The jungle, like it knew something was happening, went crazy. Strange, scary creatures came out of the plants, their eyes burning with anger. Riley, his gun firing, fought with Lyra and Ilara. They moved so fast and gracefully, using their alien powers in an amazing way. The air crackled with energy as they fought to protect the glowing ball, their lives now tied to its fate. With one last desperate try, Riley reached the glowing ball. It vibrated when he touched it, a rush of powerful energy flowing through him. The jungle went quiet, the creatures disappearing as fast as they had come. Lyra and Ilara, their eyes wide with surprise, watched as Riley, glowing with the ball's light, became part of its power. The air vibrated with energy, the future of everything hanging in the balance. The light from the ball faded, and a feeling of peace came over the jungle. The once intimidating and mysterious jungle now seemed to breathe a sigh of relief. The dense foliage, which had always seemed to hide secrets and dangers, now appeared welcoming and serene. The sunlight filtering through the leaves created a mosaic of light and shadow, painting a picture of tranquility. It was as if the jungle itself had been transformed, shedding its old skin to reveal a new harmonious existence. Riley, changed forever, stood with Lyra and Ilara. The trio had been through so much together, facing challenges that tested their courage and resolve. Each of them had grown in ways they never imagined. Riley, once unsure and hesitant, now stood tall and confident. Lyra, with her unwavering determination, had become the glue that held them together. And Ilara, whose wisdom and calm demeanor had guided them through the darkest times, now looked at the jungle with a sense of accomplishment. They had faced the unknown together, and now they were true friends. Their bond, forged in the crucible of adventure, was unbreakable. They celebrated their victory not just over the challenges they had faced, but over their own fears and doubts. The jungle, once a place of uncertainty, had become a symbol of their strength and unity. They hugged each other, their hearts filled with gratitude and joy. The journey had changed them, but it had also brought them closer together. The jungle, not scary anymore, felt different, full of a new harmony. The sounds of wildlife, once eerie and unsettling, now seemed like a beautiful symphony. The vibrant greenery, which had once seemed overwhelming, now felt like a protective embrace. The jungle was alive, but in a way that was comforting and reassuring. It was a place of peace and balance where every creature and plant had its place. The transformation was not just in the jungle, but in the hearts of those who had journeyed through it. Their adventure wasn't over, but as they left the glowing ball and went back into the green jungle, they knew they were different. The glowing ball, a symbol of their journey, had given them a new perspective. They walked away from it with a sense of purpose and hope. The jungle path ahead was still unknown, but they were ready to face whatever came their way. They had each other, and that was enough. The adventure had taught them that together they could overcome anything. They carried with them the hope of a new beginning. The jungle, once a place of fear, was now a place of promise. Every step they took was filled with the knowledge that they had the strength to face whatever lay ahead. The sunlight filtering through the leaves seemed to guide them, illuminating their path. They walked with a sense of purpose, their hearts filled with hope and determination. The legacy of the jungle was not just in its beauty, but in the lessons it had taught them. And as they moved forward, they knew that their journey was just beginning.